What's going on, guys? This is James Allen. I am recording this on Friday, October 17th, 2025. Last week, a viewer let me know that DFinity has a Caffeine AI billboard up in San Francisco, my old turf. And when I heard that, of course, I became curious and went and looked it up online. I was able to find it on Reddit, and when I saw the billboard, I couldn't believe my eyes. It was just a giant poster that says caffeine. And at the bottom left, it says hello self-writing internet. And at the bottom right, it has like a link like Caffeine AI or something like that. And I couldn't believe how bad this was. I was just so flabbergasted. I was shocked. And before I get into my own thoughts about how poorly this is just done, I want to read to you some of the comments from Reddit, right? Because I want to show you what the people are saying. So here we go. The first one. The average person will only think coffee when they see that sign. Well, isn't that obvious? And there's a response. Yeah, marketing, not their strong suit. Here's another one. I was thinking the exact same thing. Is this a billboard paid by the National Coffee Association to get more caffeine into American bloodstream? Nobody would think this is an AI application run on a Web3 blockchain named Internet Computer. The first thing that pops up on Google Shopping are caffeine pills. Rightfully so. Here's the last one. The incompetence raises a red flag, unfortunately. Reminds me of the Saitama token. All the signs were there, and the advertisements were just as bad. So you could tell the people are losing confidence and are seeing red flag all over from this billboard. I mean, I really want to know what the people in the boardroom was thinking, right? Like, yeah, we're going to put a billboard up, and it's going to work. Yeah. You can't make this stuff up, guys. Anyway, my previous version, like the former me, would have probably attacked DFinity, laugh at them, poke at them, antagonize them. But I've let go of this whole fiasco with the grant that DFinity denied me. You know, the influencer grants. People stopped saying it was a developer grant. It was an influencer grant. You know, not that it would make a difference anyway. You know, the grant was denied. I'm over the whole fiasco. I'm not gonna antagonize DFinity any further, to be honest, because at this point, like, what's the point, man? What is the point, right? Like, I'm over the whole grant rejection. It's okay. So I'm gonna try to tell DFinity what they did wrong here. Hopefully, I don't offend anyone's ego, because I know like what's holding you back from working with me is your pride and your arrogance. All good. Hopefully, you could take this advice. You know, because I know you're watching, right? So here's what you did wrong, DFinity. A billboard needs cultural presence to work. You know, a billboard needs cultural presence. People must already know who you are for a billboard to work. They're not discovery tools. They're tools of dominance. You use a billboard to assert your brand, not to make people discover your brand. For a billboard to work, you need to be embedded in the culture already. I mean, if you look at a Nike billboard, for an example, I found one in New York City that just says, just do it, right? But before that billboard was able to work, there was literally years, if not decades, of Nike pumping the culture of action, right? Athletic action, right? Nike had trained the public into the culture of sports and athletics and action for years before they were able to show a billboard with just their sign that says, just do it. Billboards are dominant symbols. That's how you assert your brand. It's not how your brand get discovered. For you to use a billboard, people must know who you are already. You must be embedded in the culture already. It makes no sense to have a billboard up and you have no cultural presence. So that's the first mistake you did, is not understanding how to use Billboard. And it makes sense. I've already been telling the audience and the whole ICP community that although DFinity is technically brilliant, I give you guys the IQ, your EQ, your cultural literacy is literally zero. No offense, but you have no cultural literacy. And that's a problem because in Web3, in blockchain, it's all about culture. Blockchain lives on culture. It's literally the blood of Web3. You need cultural literacy to play in the Web3 game, and you guys have none. And rather than work with talent such as myself, you keep going the corporate route to manage perception as opposed to literally let the culture emerge. Culture is not something that you create. It emerges. It's something you co-create with the community, definitely, but you're so prideful and arrogant and think you're above everyone that you're just doing things that you want to do. And that's fine. Now, other than the fact that, like, you know, billboards are signs of dominance. That's how you assert your brand. You need cultural background, cultural presence for them to work. You did another mistake. That is, I used to live in San Francisco. I lived there for nearly 10 years. And I lived downtown across the ferry building for some time. But my last couple of years, I lived in an area called the Mission. And right near the Mission, there's a neighborhood called Hayes Valley. I used to bike there all the time, right? Hayes Valley, because I had friends there. And there was a Blue Bottle coffee shop there that I used to love. And Hayes Valley was literally known as AI Valley. The reason why they call Hayes Valley AI Valley is because there was a high concentration of AI startups there. In fact, I made a lot of friends there. One of the guys I knew personally, his name is Malcolm. He was a mentee of Marvin Minsky. Marvin Minsky, the godfather of AI. So that friend I had met, he went to MIT and he was a computer science major there, clearly. But Marvin Minsky had took him under his wing. And he was, of course, working on an AI project, which is how we met. You know, I was interested in that stuff at the time, and I saw him code. We were at the same co-working space, and we became friends. So, like, can you imagine putting a billboard about AI in San Francisco? That's the last place to put such billboard, because these people have seen so many AI, so-called AI revolution come and go. Talking about an oversaturated market. If there's one group of people you're not going to fool, it's San Francisco. Think of the founders, the VCs, the developers who've seen countless AI projects come and go. Millions of AI buzzwords have flashed in their face for decades. Yet, this is where you put it. You put it in an area where people are the least sensitive to that stuff, right? It just shows again, you have no cultural literacy. You could hire people like me, right? That's what people like me are for. We're there to help you, but you refuse my help. I've asked you to back Cityscape, right? Because I told you, you back Cityscape, I give your blockchain a name. How much money did you spend on that billboard? I'm pretty sure you could use that money. And I could have saved you a lot of time, DFinity, right? So you made two mistakes. Billboards are ways to assert your brand. You need cultural presence before you can use them. And you're not an Apple or Google yet. You're a startup, DFinity. And second, San Francisco is probably the last place for this to work. You know, because San Francisco, the people there, they're so used to AI revolutions, quote unquote, and they've seen so many of them die. That's the least sensitive population to this stuff. So I hope you're watching DFinity and you take some tips. If there is a place you want to impress DFinity, if there's a place you want to, if you want to embed yourself into the culture, it's not even San Francisco. San Francisco is not the place you need to be. You need to be in Miami. Miami is the new cultural hub, especially for Web3. Miami is the new cultural center. And remember, I had offered you to lead an ICP hub down there, right? But then again, your pride and your arrogance, you're just pretending I don't exist. So it's okay. I'll leave it as that, but I'm letting the community see what's happening here so that if things go to ruins completely, because you're going to keep doing what you're doing, no one could say this was my fault because I've offered to help. You've just chosen to ignore me. In any case, my misfits, that's all I have for you in this episode. You know what to do. Don't forget to press that like button and support me on Patreon. I will see you next time.